G'day and welcome back to my channel. Now if you've been watching recently, I did a whole review on one of these. Sorry, you're in the Northern Hemisphere, eh? I'll turn it up. I'm in Australia, everything's upside down. Now, yes, I've been did a review on one of these. Go back and bloody watch that if you haven't already. And it's a Riich Ka-Tsu. Yes, it's a bloody mighty kit, but I wanted to put torpedoes and things and a whole lot of stuff on it, and I've got that scheduled to build next year, early next year, but there's a lot of scratching going to have to go on that. Now, this happened. So, this is the Riich kit. It's 1/72nd scale, but look, it comes with the torpedoes and machine guns, everything that I wanted to do and change and scratch on my Dragon kit. And this is a bloody nice kit. I'm really surprised. I've had a look through and the parts are beautiful and the part count is actually quite high. There's photo etch, there's everything, and it has that fantastic camo scheme that I really like. So let's have a look. So, what do you get in the box? Well, actually, there's quite a lot, which is quite surprising. Quite surprising. Now, the tub is actually a good size. The hull. It's probably about Panzer II size in 1/35. Remember, this is a 1/72nd scale kit. So that's actually going to be a good size to work with. So, pretty happy about that. That's good. You get sprue A. And everything's bagged. Everything is beautifully bagged in separate bags. It's good quality. There's no flash. Everything's nice and clean. I'll pull them out of the bag shortly when we go through the instructions. So you get the top. Unlike the Dragon kit, the pulley line's already sort of moulded into this, as are the hatches. So you don't get to put those on. But surprisingly, the Dragon kit has 220 parts. And this has 150. So it's not a hell of a lot less. I mean, for a kit that, is literally 1/8 the volume. Yes, do the math. It's half the scale, therefore it's a quarter the plan, and therefore it's 1/8 the volume. Yep. So literally there should be 1/8 the volume of plastic in this, and yet 150 parts as opposed to Dragon's 220. And admittedly, we have got link and link tranks, a few other things to do to add on this one that we don't have in the Dragon kit, but that's not a lot more really. So link and length. So it's like we've got hundreds of bloody indie links. Torpedoes. So that's what the Dragon kit doesn't have. And we've got machine gun here, which also isn't in the Dragon kit. So those are the things that I will scratch. The torpedoes, the machine gun, and there's also the cradle mechanism for putting the torpedoes on. That's all going to be made for my larger scale Dragon kit. But this kit will show me how it all goes together. And that will be very handy for me to scratch build all that when I do the big one. But this kit looks beautiful. I mean, there is nothing wrong with this moulding at all. Looking through the bags, admittedly, but it is crystal sharp. It's just lovely. So, yeah, it's interesting. A lot of things are more detailed in this and less detailed in the Dragon, and vice versa. They've both taken different approaches as to where they're going to put the effort in. For instance, we haven't got only 32 tiny bits of photo etch to put on every single wheel in the Dragon kit, which would be a nightmare at this scale. But yeah, there's absolutely no need for that, Dragon. So we've got that. We do have, just like the Dragon kit, we've got some photo etch, and we've got the cover for the muffler. Then we've got the nice little bracketing things here, and we've got some little strap on. That's probably because we've got those torpedoes. You do have all this, which is an absolute pain, and I was complained about bitterly. So there's actually an amendment in instructions and some extra parts. Talk about that later, because those were all the vanes for the screws on the torpedoes. And the original kit had you CA gluing on every single, no way. That's a nightmare. So obviously they had a rethink at Riich Models, and now you've got the plastic option as well. We'll talk about that as we go through instructions. Just dry fit the deck and the hull together on this little Ka-Tsu. And that's a Panzer II, but in 1/35th scale, and this is actually longer. So you can imagine in the actual scale, or from the Dragon kit, it's about this long. Absolutely dwarfs these tanks. Absolutely dwarfs them. It's a huge machine. So really, it's not as wide, but as a modelling subject at 1/72nd, that's quite a workable size. That's quite good. So yeah, how about that? Now, a thing to watch out for, just because I cut the deck off quickly to dry fit it, And it's got an annoying, there'll be a little photo up here. It's got an annoying 45-degree bevel, two bevels joined together, which is my pet hate in modelling, bevels. Because then you've got to cut the sprue points off at 45 degrees. Okay, that's doable. But also in there, be careful because some of the little knobs you're going to see, especially if you've got wobbly eyes like mine, they're actually locating pins to lock this in. It has little locating sections, and I'll show that in a picture here as well. So yeah, I'm busily cutting things off thinking, gee, I don't remember this many sprue points, and I'm busy cutting off the little locating pins. You can see there's three here at the front, 1, 2, 3. But that's the sprue point. That's the sprue point that has to be removed. So yeah, clickety click. So it goes together nicely. It's lovely and crisp and clean. That is going to be quite a nice model, even at 1/72 scale. So let's have a look at the instructions. Instructions come in a nice little booklet. It's the size of the box, so it's quite small. And you get the box art, which is rather lovely, in colour. Notice, Dragon, in colour. And you've got a thing here about how to apply your decals, which is interesting. So you've got special instructions there. You've got your usual caution sort of things, you know, what not to do. Don't launch your torpedoes while you're in the bath because you might blow up your rubber duck, that sort of thing. And then there's their particular icon instruction, and they're pretty standard actually. They look very similar to just about what everyone else is doing, so there's going to be no dramas there, just intuitively knowing what it's all about. Now you get a sprue map, which is lovely, so everything's on the sprue map, so very clearly drawn, so all your parts are there. And there is 2 parts missing. Let me have a look. So we have a look at sprue A here, which there's 2 of, which is basically most of the parts. Everything's correct and exactly as it is on the drawing, except for here's the machine gun, and in our version, you'll notice there's also 2 little screw props. This is what I was on about before. What they've done is they've added in those plastic parts, so you don't have to use those horrible little PE vanes. I'll show you that in the instructions when we get to it. But that's the only anomaly in your instructions. It's the part that you'll find that's wrong, but that's okay. Now it's a new mold kit, and we see that down here that basically it's got copyright 2017, so it's only last year. I'm doing this review in 2018. It's a fairly new kit, and it's the only version that they've done. I think I'll have to double check stuff myself. I think it is. This is the first time they've put the kit out. They may have. Well, obviously, this is a different boxing to the one without the extra plastic parts. That's the only difference, that they've done that, but they don't change the number on the kit. So that's how it is. So the instructions start very simply with the assembly of the tub, which I've already just dry fitted together, and then we put in the actual screws for the Ka-Tsu itself, not the Torpedoes. It actually has its own screws. And there's this little arrangement here which actually pivots up and down, and that allows the screws to be hidden away when it's on the land, so they don't bang into anything, but just dropped out again. So those parts are on, well, they're both on A and B. On the A sprue, you'll find the screws are sort of, they're spread around here. They're in 2 funny little spots. Let's see if I can remember where they are. There's one here, tucked away, and there's one over here. Strangely enough, the screw here that's required, and the one over here, that's required to propel the vessel is smaller than the ones on the torpedoes. Isn't that weird? But then again, they've only got 1 on each torpedo, I think. I think there's only 1. Yeah, I'm sure there is. But the Ka-Tsu itself is propelled by 2 screws. So there you go. So they're pretty bloody clean. Let's see how close we get. They are very cleanly moulded. There's no problem there. You've got the usual thing that you've got to cut off on the vanes. That's pretty well inherent, which is about all the screws that you get on just about all the ship builds. So you've always got to be very careful, and then you've got to make sure that you basically round them out. Well, you end up with a little dents in it. That's okay. That happens. It's hit something, hasn't it? It's banged into a reef. So moving now to the B sprue. So there's the rotatable, this one here. This is going to basically be the piece that's going to rotate up and down, and it's locked in by little mechanisms there. They're beautifully moulded parts. They're nice and fine. They're detailed. Every bit as good as a Dragon, but of course we're in 1/72 scale here. So that's yeah. And while we're here, I mean, you can look at the cabin too. Very crisply moulded. Those cabin parts. Everything is quite delicious. You know, quite yummy. Look at that. That's the muffler. It looks lovely. So you know, the quality of this mould is exceptional, and you can't fault it. I'm not really quite in awe. And I looked at the Dragon kit and I loved it. It's 135th. This 172nd, and it is just beautiful. So the tub gets turned over. It hasn't got the decking at this point, so we're going to put that in. And you're going to be putting on all those wheels, which are on the B sprue. So there's, sorry, on the A sprue. A, B, you're all over the place, Harry. What are you talking about? So let's have a look at wheels in this. So there are wheels, and they're lovely. They're nicely detailed. They're very nicely detailed. Let's have a look at so we're on the reverse side. So yes, look, they are beautiful. For this scale, there's a lot going on. The detail is lovely. So you are going to get through quite a lot of wheels. I mean, there's 32 because you need 4 bogies per side. Each bogey's got 2 wheels, so 16, and then 16 aside. So you've got 32. Yeah, so there's a lot of wheels to cut out and make round, but I don't mind that. And they won't be too hard. The sprue points look pretty good, actually. The sprue points are nice and tight, so they should be fairly easy to cut out. So let's have a look what's next. Section 3 is the link and length track, which was also on the double A sprue. So they're quite good. They're quite nicely detailed. Nothing wrong with those. Nice and sharp. Beauty about being link and length, we've only got to do the little indie links around, you know, sprockets and things like that. We don't have to do them everywhere. So there's a lot of links in this. I mean, believe you me, I know from looking at the Dragon kit, and I bought indie links for it, and you know, I'm up for around 200 per side. It's probably even more than that. So they're pretty good. The sag's already built in between the wheels, between basically those little return rollers there. That's terrific, and you've got a little cap on each one, so that should go together well. You've got individual links around the sprocket, individual links there on the idler. That's good. Surprisingly, the bottom track and the 2 step-ups mate together without a little link in them. That's a bit unusual, because normally you want another little link there so you get just a tiny bit of a curve. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Maybe we can bend it a little bit, or maybe at this scale it doesn't even really matter. So that all looks pretty easy to do, actually. For a set of links, it's really not that hard. So in the instructions here, they say 4 grounds. So for these your little rudders back here, you can have them in a shorter position, so they're tucked up into the back of the hull if it's up on the ground and they're not in the water. But if you're in the water, you can just use a full length. So you get that part on either of the A sprues, and you know, it just depends if you want to portray it in the water, and they'll be all the way down, or if you want to portray that it's up on the land on its tracks, then they suggest you cut 10 millimeters off, and that'll be it. In the Dragon kit, I think they actually slide up and down, but they haven't made provision for that here. Might be something that I could do as an option, because you only really have to drill a little hole back up on the deck so they can push up through, which is what I think they do on the Dragon kit. We'll have a look at that when we build it. The cabin and those parts go on, but I've shown you those. They're in sprue B, and they're very nice details there. But the thing I'd like to talk about are these torpedoes here. So there's the torpedo, and it's one piece moulded. So there we go. Is there much of a sprue line? A seam line, I mean? Not much, hardly anything. That'll scrape off with a knife. That's not a problem at all. And it's just pretty basic shape. I mean, you know, I wanted to see what these torpedoes look like and how they depicted in this kit, because then that'll help me with my scratch build for the larger Dragon 135th scale kit. Now, the thing about the change in the instructions has all got to do with this thing here. You'd have to put in these tiny little PE parts here, and these are the vanes for the prop on the torpedo, which is just absurd. So luckily somebody had a bit of common sense, or decided to at least listen to the complaints from the customers, and we've got those 2 screws there in the kit, and they're very nice. They're very nicely moulded. They've actually got they're angled on the vanes and everything. No, they're quite good. And we've also got this machine gun over here. We should look at that. Bit of light on the subject. There we go. The machine gun, that is quite nice. That's something else I'm interested in because I want to be able to scratch my own. And it should be a 13mm Hotchkiss from the research I've done. And it's beautifully rendered there in 1/72 scale. So well done, Mr. Riich. So this is the little piece they give you that basically says cut the end off the torpedo and put on your screws. They want you to put 2 on, but I'll have a look at that. Maybe that makes one big one. I don't know. A32 and 33 because you get 2. Well, maybe that is the case. Don't know. Notice it's on here as well, and that's what they previously wanted you to do. There's no way I'm attempting that. I mean, you know, those tiny pieces of PE, trying to get them on there, but join them, forget it. We've got some nice brackets here. I think we looked at those. We'll have a quick look now. They're on A1. Oh, A1. That shouldn't be too hard to find. Yes, there it is. So those parts, they're very nicely rendered. Look at the detail on those. And again, I'm interested in those because I want to upscale those to 1/35 for my Dragon kit. Yes, very nice indeed. So that pretty well ends everything here. By the time you got the torpedoes on, although I will probably build it to this point, and your machine guns too, they went on, showed you those. I'd build it, but I probably will keep a few things loose like I always do, so that I can then paint the camo and then put the fiddly bits back, because if there's anything that's a little bit fragile, I will wreck it. I will break it off while I'm trying to assemble. So we're basically at step 7 now, and all step 7 is put that exhaust on. I've shown you that before with a little bit of PE. And I don't know why they didn't do 7 and 8. Well, actually, this is an either or. Okay, right. Put your brain on, Harry Houdini. You've got 1, or you can have 2. Well, this is the alternate one. What's the difference? Part B21, B23. All right, there's 2 exhausts. But if you put this one on, this is the one that you can add all these extra rails. And I've seen photos of the torpedoes on and then all these rails. And I think the rails would add quite a bit of interest, because otherwise the deck is fairly bland. So the rails, I'll just find those, A23, so they won't be a hard part. Oh, yes, there they are. They're not a hard part to find at all. Not at all. So they're just simple little rails, nothing fantastic to look at there. And we looked at everything else in the sprue, haven't we? Yes, I bored you to death with everything. Look, it's a gorgeous little kit. It really is. Now, once you've got all that done, well, you're assembled, and then this is where it becomes quite lovely. Obviously, I'm going with this one. Yes, this is the one I'm going with. I'll just get rid of my lens flare there. Yes, this is the camo scheme that you want. Well, it's the camo scheme I want. You should want it too. It's pretty. I mean, anyone can paint a boring old green. You know, that's yours. Let's fold that away. We don't even need that. We don't even need that. We'll just look at this one. So that's a lovely camo scheme. It really is. And I again want to steal this entire design and put it on my Dragon kit. So I've purchased the Riich kit now. So if I copy some of the things off here, I'm sure they won't try and sue me with copyright for showing their images of building a Dragon kit. I've got both, and I'm just doing it as a compliment, as a homage. Anyhow, fuck them. I don't care. I'll just do what I want. Yes, so basically the torpedoes I will leave off. They're just going to be green with red noses. The machine guns I will leave off. But basically I want to do this camo, and got another way of doing that. I don't know if I'll use my paper mask, which always works, or I've just got some SMS putty. It's a new product. SMS, the guys that make the wonderful sable brushes I use. If you've watched any of my videos, I love their sable brushes. They're tri-handled, so I can hold them with my wobbly hands. They're beautiful feel, and they work with acrylics like you wouldn't believe. They're fantastic. So I like those guys. They do a whole range of lacquer paints, but they have assured me their pigments are going to go into some acrylics one day soon. Please, Mr. SMS. Yes, and please do that. So scale modelers supply, yes. Wonderful guys. Now, that's what we'll be doing. I won't be doing that. That's boring. Now you get, if we're just having a look at what the kit entails and instructions, you get some colour callouts here. It's the usual sort of thing. And they call them out in, I suppose it's Mr. Colour as usual. Vallejo, yeah, Mr. Colour and Vallejo. And Mr. Hobby, so you know the aqueous guns, colours, and Vallejo. So there you go. So they should be easy enough to find in something else, because I'll probably end up playing this in Ataka, as I always do. Well, as I have been lately. I'm loving my Ataka paint. So I'm sure that's probably very similar to the German colours. You've probably got a dunkel baby shit yellow, and you've got a you know, a nice little turd brown there, and then you've got a little you know, congealed blood red. Standard colours. Alrighty, well that's it. I don't think there's anything else after that. Let's have a look. No, we're back to the beginning. That's it, because it's a sort of a foldy 80 concertina thing. That is the instructions. I hope you enjoyed that review. It's just a quick review. I will get stuck into this kit probably in the next few weeks, because I'm so excited about it, and it's a simple build. So look out for that, and that will be a precursor for me building the larger Dragon 1/35th scale of this little Ka-Tsu. So more to come. All right, thanks for watching. Goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.